But we asked, would you amnesty Deshaun Watson if you could? 410 votes is a dead 50-50 split.
No kidding.
Wow.
Bull, that's how you know it's a good question.
Wow. I am stunned. I thought it'd be 90-10 no.
Oh, and I had just hit end, so officially it just ended with 51% no, 49%, which is literally one vote off of
Oh, my
430
God.
votes.
I am
Crazy.
stunned by that.
You said 51% said what?
51% said they would not amnesty Deshaun. 49%
it was
said
a
they
good
would. And let's ask
question.
Leroy. Leroy, what would you do if you had the option?
Oh, shit.
Would I amnesty? No. What do you like? Listen, guys. Here's what you need to understand. All this quarterback talk that you talk about. Oh, maybe he could do this, and oh, maybe he could do that. You have an idea what Deshaun Watson can do. My only complaint with Deshaun Watson is, dude hasn't played 5 consecutive weeks since he's been here, right? And that's after being off for it. That's after being off for a year and a half.
We saw him 6 straight games last year at the end.
Was he 6 straight? Oh, that after not playing for a year and a half
He played 6 games.
and joining the team after week 11.
At what point, though, does it all come back? Week 7?
Here's what I would say. Here's what I would say. There's a lot of truth to what you guys are saying from this standpoint. Next year he comes back healthy and he has a full season, right? And then you'll be able to evaluate, well, he ain't that guy, right?
Yeah.
After a full season.
But our discussion was for right now, based on what we've seen from him.
No, you can't.
You can't.
You can't.
Yeah,
you
and that's
can't.
why I
You
said
invest
you can't
like
either. You're all
part
in.
of the problem. Part of the problem with the damn Cleveland Browns over the last 30 years is their impatience.
Yep, and they zig.
Right?
They're
And then what
constantly moving
happens
the point.
is all the fans in Bull are happy because they made the move they wanted, and then you're miserable for the next 5 years. Have a little patience. I get the window may not be as big as you want it to be, but go ahead and look at the alternatives.
Hey, Leroy,
And I
that's
gotta tell
wait
you,
a second.
here,
That's unfair
what?
because a lot of people in this town have been screaming to fire Stefanski, and I have consistently said you need consistency. Don't fire the guy. So don't lump me in
Well,
with
let me ask Leroy a question about that because it's a college question, but it's the same thing philosophically. Were you one of the Michigan alum that were yelling and screaming, and I heard many of them, fire Harbaugh after his first 4 years? I heard a lot of y'all saying, fire him.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
think you did too.
I heard it, yeah.
And the team, and you know what? To their credit, they showed patience.
Why you bring that up?
Well, I bring it up because I think it's pertinent to this argument.
They also showed photographs to the defensive coordinator.
Yes, they did. But they showed patience, and it's paid off.
Listen,
Because it's
the blueprint,
consistency.
Jay, the blueprint of how organizations should be run is a little bit east. And that's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, you're right.
How many times have they pleaded to the Pittsburgh Steelers to fire Tomlin?
You're right.
He's done. He can't get it done. Look at this team. Look at Kenny Pickett. He can't get it done. And you know what the Steelers say? We know what the hell we doing.
Here we
Back
are,
off.
7-4.
Right. And so I understand that at some point you got to make changes. I understand that. Okay? But if your answer to Deshaun Watson is Kirk Cousins, be careful with what you're asking for. And I like Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins made more guaranteed money than anybody in this league. Because every contract he done had since he left the 2 years of franchise tag in Washington has been guaranteed money.
You're right.
Smart.
But
Leroy, let me ask you this, though. Could they win a Super Bowl with this defense and obviously a healthy? Because he's got to be healthy. But if he's healthy, can they win a Super Bowl that way?
I think they need that dude outside. Right?
Thank you.
You look at all these teams, and they all have that dude. Right? Go look at all the top teams. Guess what they got outside? That dude. I'm not saying that these receivers aren't good. I love Amari Cooper. Right? But with Amari Cooper, they just drop back 30 yards and let him catch it in front of him. And it's kind of the same, situation that your best receiver when it was Jarvis Landry. You got to threaten the ball down the field. You have to. So you need to get some guys that is going to fight, that are going to scare the back end of that defense. You have to. Look at football the way it's played now. Why does Kansas City look like they're struggling so much? Because can't nobody that go past 30 yards could catch the damn ball.
But they won the Super Bowl last year without anybody.
Again, there's exceptions to every rule, bull. But you know what the hell I'm talking about. Stop. The Browns don't have anybody who threaten the football field on the back end. They don't.
Well, he's in concussion protocol right now. That's all.
Well, when he was healthy, he didn't.
Hold on. Leroy, here's the thing, man. I know we a hard-working city, and I know people want to put their hard hat on, but sometimes y'all got to go ahead and get you a splash player and a player that can make plays.
Well, we tried that.
We keep
We
talking.
keep missing.
No, you didn't. Cedric Tillman is not splashing nothing away.
No,
Odell.
OBJ.
Odell.
That was a big splash move.
That was a big splash move.
And it was a big fail.
And they got him up out of here because he showed how many times he was open. Now,
Can I
digress. Now, here's the thing.
That's not fair.
I'm
He
just
wanted
saying.
to be cut.
Here's the thing. I'm just saying. What I'm saying, Leroy, is if we want to talk about the Deshaun Watson thing, we also have to take this thing and talk about it in pieces as well. We were told by Kevin Stefanski that this was a new and improved offense, and we kind of just threw that away to the wind. It ain't new and improved. This is the same thing we've seen. And to me, if you're going to give Deshaun Watson a best chance to be the guy that he was in Houston, you got to give him somebody that run faster than a 4.5.
All right, then why did you predict him to throw for 5,000 yards before the season?
Because I thought Deshaun Watson was that nice. Obviously, when you get new information, you can pivot.
All right,
I call that being smart.
That is. I agree.
Here's the other thing. Okay? Go look at the turnaround for all these young quarterbacks and see what they have in common. Tua Tagovailoa got who?
Both
Tyreek
cats.
Hill. Right?
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Hurts got what?
2 guys.
Yep.
Two
You're right.
guys. Okay? Stop. Go look at Jacksonville and tell me Ridley hasn't made that much of a damn difference?
Ridley, Kirk.
Come
He's
on.
not having a great year, actually.
We could have
But
traded for him.
that does not. But they tried.
I got you.
They went and got what they considered that dude. Every football move. But look, you could have the right idea, and you can have the right decision making. It doesn't always work, right? It doesn't always work. So understand that when your team or your organization decides, oh, we're going to make a play for this guy or this guy, and this is what it's going to do to our team, sometimes it doesn't quite work the way they had it planned.
Right.
That's life in sports.
That guy is hard to get, though, Leroy. There aren't that many of those guys, right? I mean, there aren't that many of those guys. I agree with you in the end that, yes, the Browns
Go look at the last 5 drafts.
Yeah.
Go look at the last 5 drafts all over the first and second round. There's been those dudes getting drafted.
And we've missed.
Well, the
in the
Browns
third
haven't had a
round.
first-round pick.
Notoriously, we've
Well,
missed.
Leroy, what school did a lot of the, those first round picks receivers? What school did they?
So you know what?
I was curious. What school did?
I'm gonna tell you what school they went to.
You set yourself
That's a
up.
very-
Go ahead. Take
Put
that.
yourself up
I
for
just
that.
think
Can I
that's
just say this? Can I just say this? Let me say this about the game.
By the way,
Right.
Aaron Rodgers.
And I'm gonna say this.
Wait, what game?
I'm
Aaron
gonna say
Rodgers
this about
is coming back to practice.
Michigan, Ohio State.
You gotta.
Let me
we
say
we
this
gotta
real
talk
quick.
about that.
Yes. I'm gonna tell you why Michigan been winning. You want to know why? Because for the last 10 years, you have had a quarterback that was excellent at off-schedule plays.
That's true.
That can make plays with his legs. The same thing that kills Alabama. Whenever they have a quarterback that can run around and make plays outside the pocket. Now
Well,
you
we had
put a
that
guy
guy
and just
last year,
sit.
too.
Wait, now you just put him and sit him in the pocket? So a disciplined defense know exactly where he's gonna be all the time?
Yeah, that's true. But last year we had C.J. Stroud.
He wasn't a runner.
He could move.
He can move.
He's run more than the pros.
He has run more than pros. Ryan Day kept him in the pocket.
What I'll say about that game is I plead the fifth and I don't want to talk to you about it.
You know what?
Now, can we
I'll
talk
say
about the Browns real quick?
Because they played their ass off.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Y'all
To the
did
victor,
y'all thing.
you know the deal.
Boom.
And they played the better game.
With an interim coach, no cheating
That's
going
right.
on.
Congratulations.
Boom.
You guys
You
played
got
a
it, baby.
hell of a game.
You got it.
Deserve everything you get.
Hey, I got to tell you, it sounds like you eating a bitter ale. Go ahead on and eat it.
I'm not.
Like, don't Yeah.
Yeah, Tyvis.
You got to put
What
all those
What I need to do? Why I need to do that?
Leroy, your coach showed guts, and Ryan Day was gutless. He didn't go for it.
Why I need to do that, Leroy?
Yeah.
He's got his pants out.
Gold pants.
Hey, Leroy, I'll say this. I think I look at it like this. I ain't got a dog in the fight. One thing I've noticed with Michigan,
You're a Buckeye fan.
I am a Buckeye fan. I went to OU. I could always pivot and fall out. Just be like, all right, nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with that. Hey, but here's the thing. It's just like in the pros. Michigan is more consistent when it comes to doing what they need to do up front.
You want me to tell you what it is?
Up front, for sure.
Let me tell you what it is, G. Bush. Here's what it is. And this is what I get annoyed about with the Browns.
Yep.
Know who you are and be the best version of who you are and stop trying to be somebody you're not.
Yep.
Okay? The Browns are a team that runs the football and are physical on both lines of scrimmage. Everything that you do starts off there, right? There is no reason in the world DTR should have been throwing the ball that damn much.
Leroy, how would you Bernie was here yesterday and he was explaining how y'all would handle a guy like Aaron Donald. How would you
take his ass out, he said.
No. Here, you know what you do to guys like that? You run right at them.
That's what he said.
Yep.
You don't run side to side.
Bernie said that's exactly what you would do.
Let me explain something to you. And here's what sometimes kills me about coaches, right? You can't be afraid of that guy.
Thank you.
You got 600 pounds of linemen that you could just push down the field and just get the bag behind him and just go for a ride for 3 or 4 yards and do that 5 or 6 or 7 times in a drive. Right? That wears on. I don't care who you are.
Get in his head.
No, you ain't got to get in his head. Get on his body.
Yeah, but now he's looking for that every play, too.
Yes. But all these plays, when you see Aaron Donald making plays, is because he's so quick, he's so athletic, he's so strong, and you give him a window to, like, not even get hit and just jump around you. So, like, no. But you got to commit to it. You got to commit to the run. Like, dude, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you. Y'all don't have to be rocket scientists, right?
We're not, so that's a good thing.
We're not Josh Dobbs.
Every time you go into a game, without a game plan, I had you look at the rankings, right? Man, this team sucks at stopping the run. And we run the ball well. Guess we're going to give them a heavy dose of run. That's not rocket science.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's
and so we watching the guy. Look. And this sucks for DTR. Here's why. He's in his damn 3rd game.
Yeah. And you have him
and
throw
you got him back
times.
There. Right.
Well, he threw 29.
Well, it ended up throwing himself out of the game. He threw so much.
But you, like, come on, man, at some point in sports, and this is at any level, this is at any level of football, basketball, or whatever, right? Sometimes you got to put the ball in your hand and say, come get some. You got to stop me. We don't do that. We never do that. We say, oh, no. And here's the problem. You ready? The damn check with me. And I'm going to tell y'all how the check with me goes awry. And it happened a bunch of times during the game. Because DTR probably had check with me, run pass, and you counting bodies, right? And you see what Denver would do? They'll walk up to the line of scrimmage.
Yes, and fall back.
He'd check it, and then they back up.
Yep, all day.
Is anybody smart enough to understand what the hell they doing?
And they did it all day.
I can see it.
But Leroy, there's 9 guys in the box, Leroy. We can't run against 9 in the box, Leroy.
You know what? Every running back you have on here, you know what we look forward to? 9 men on the line of scrimmage. Because if you find a crease, you go.
That's it. Home
Are we
run.
dropping back and throwing a pass? Come on.
I had a
That
feeling
ain't
you'd go there.
Football. When it's 3rd and short, and you hand it off to Hunt, how's that any damn different? You still having success because you got one of the best run games in the world. Then we doing razzle-dazzle and trickery and all this. You can't be farther away from who you are.
So where are you at with Kevin Stefanski and play call? I just,
That's a nice
I
follow-up
just don't
question.
know.
yeah.
Week to
I'm
week.
telling you, a lot of these passes came from the run pass check. And sometimes, at some point, Kevin Stefanski should have sent them in and say, run it. Just run it. We have it all the time. Look, you stand on the sideline and say, soon as they check it, they back out. Don't check it. Give a dummy move. You say give a dummy call. Gringo. It don't mean nothing. They back out, you run it down their throat.
That's what
Anybody
Bernie was
ever
saying
thought of that?
yesterday.
Bernie said
Bernie
Oh
was
my
saying the
God.
same thing yesterday. Exactly, Leroy.
But Bernie
Bernie's-
didn't listen to the coach, though.
Yeah, Bernie
Leroy,
was
he
calling
told
his
us- he told
own
us that.
plays.
No, you know why? Because here's why. Because Bernie would see that happening,
Yeah.
and he would nix the run pass check.
Yep.
He would get in the huddle and say, we sticking with it. He ain't need to get it from the booth, from the sideline, all the way in after you'd have got drug up 8 plays in a row
No, you got to
to realize we got to pound this thing.
Well, you know,
Belichick screwed it up.
Paul DePodesta, sent the text message to the sideline. He saw something.
Let's hope not.
That's not true.
I
is
saw
it?
something too in Florida. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, y'all get you know how offenses go in motion and I tell you how the defenses go all crazy or whatever? They did it to us. Them guys ain't had no intention on crossing that line of scrimmage when they got there. They looking around. You could see it. I could see it the whole game.
They got called
they
for
would
an
just come up there.
offsides on a guy that was
Right.
faking a blitz. And he backed
Right.
up, but he'd already come off
Right.
sides. I'm like,
You know what?
more do they have to
They was
see
like-
to know they're not coming?
No, you know what they would say? Hey, get a little bit closer so they think you coming.
Yes.
That's too close. Like, come on, man, look. Football's not that hard, man. And sometimes it ain't a matter of numbers. Sometimes it's a matter of talent, right? How many receivers you see go over the top with double coverage, right? Still catching the ball.
Sure.
Oh, he was double covered there. Like, stop trying to outsmart the game. You
agree.
still got talent against talent. That's what sports is. It ain't your creative play calling.
You're right.
Like, all these coaches that do that.
42 throws,
Like,
16 handoffs to running backs.
Think about this. In the last two, McCarthy might be a first day draft, maybe second day, right? Because he handles the stuff. They've gone one game where he only threw 8 passes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then the next game, the best part of that whole Ohio State game was with 8 minutes left, they ran the ball down the field with all the men in the box.
Killed the clock.
Ran it down the field and ate up 6.5 minutes.
Hey,
That's it.
Leroy,
That was the game.
Hey,
You're
Leroy,
right.
I don't need you going. That's not a good representation. I don't need you going back to that game to
Wait, can
bring
we
the point.
ask,
8 minutes-
can I ask
8
one
minutes
question
left.
to both you guys? Tyvis
What's
and Leroy. I want to show a piece of tape. For me, this is why the Buckeyes lost and why they've lost the last 3. This is pregame. And I know that teams have camaraderie and they do their things, but this is what Ohio State was doing before the Michigan game. And Michigan players were punching
cringeworthy.
each other in the face.
This is cringeworthy.
And it's cringeworthy, and I tell you, the reason I show it is because last year on this show, Maurice Clarett came out and said the Buckeyes are all about the flash. Do I have my socks right? Is my towel hanging right? We're here for showtime. Meantime, Michigan was like, we don't give a damn hell what we look like. We're bringing the fight to whoever we play. That makes me want to vomit.
I'm glad you brought
You
this
know
up because my boy Josh went off on a rant on this. And
Josh.
Perry. He went on a rant on this on his show, and they asked me about it. And I said, to be honest, you sound like the old guy in the room when you say it.
I know I do, but you know what? That wins football games.
Listen, like I said.
You're for that.
Like I said yesterday.
A football play wins football games.
People get ready for games differently. So just because
Fine.
a guy like me, I wouldn't do that. That's not how I get ready for games. I don't necessarily mean that that's not how they won 11 games and they did that every
They didn't
game.
win the game.
But they won 11 games doing the same thing.
I haven't seen Michigan do that.
So
nonsense.
Time to
Jay,
fire Ryan
they
Day,
still
Leroy.
won 11
Leroy,
games.
what do you
Jay.
think of that pregame?
You know what I did for pregame? I go get a little workout in. We go to pregame. I would take a pillow from the hotel.
Yeah, you've told me this
I'd
before.
I'd back it up in my locker.
Yep.
And 15 minutes before the game, I'd take a little power nap.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now, was I ready for football?
Hell yeah.
Like, if anybody had saw that, they were like, this guy's sleeping. He ain't ready for football. Like, we all looking at after-the-fact stuff. Tyvis is right. They did it
Oh,
for
I hate
11
it.
straight games, and they was second in the country and won 11 games.
Is it
They
enough to win
they
the
lose
game?
that.
It has
They
nothing to do
lose-
with
I don't think they lost.
They
because
lose-
of-
What do you
Nothing
think of
to
that
do with it.
mentality?
Even though it was cringeworthy, they didn't lose because of that.
Hey, them-
No, it's a mentality bull.
Hey,
They
them-
didn't lose because of that.
Yeah. I
always
Their
tell them.
mindset was dancing and showtime.
Well,
Michigan wasn't doing
Really?
that.
all them dudes over there.
Because they ain't got guys who could dance. You ever thought of that?
We don't pay attention. We don't pay attention to skill position guys. Y'all cats don't really matter.
Whoa.
No, let me tell you this. Them dudes ain't gonna tackle. They ain't got to worry about offensive linemen up front. As D linemen, we like, listen, we better get off these blocks. This is gonna be a knife fight for all these minutes. They can dance if they want to. You better have your mind ready up front. All that cute little backing up and dancing and video stuff, that's cool. Marvin Harrison Jr. and the quarterbacks there, listen, them games is run up front. The reason why Michigan is Michigan and Ohio State looks like they look like with John Cooper is because up front, Michigan is married to the ugly stuff. They're married to saying, I'm going to hit you in the mouth. And when you know it's 4th and 2, we still going to hit you in the mouth when we get these points. We're going to get these first downs. That's it.
Ryan Day has created a soft culture.
Yes.
It's hard. Hey,
Urban Meyer. Would that happen under Urban Meyer? What would Urban Meyer
he
say
know
to
that. What would Urban Meyer say about that?
What would he say to that?
If the wide receivers was dancing?
No,
that
whole
dance
situation.
line for the whole team at the beginning of the game.
Urban says he lets you do what you do to get ready. He's not going to interrupt nobody from their pregame routine. If that's what you do, and you better go out there and make sure you do well on the game. He's not everybody. As a matter of fact, he was the one. Every great superstar has their own routine, and I'm not going to deteriorate somebody from doing their routine.
No, I get
that's
that.
their routine. That's what they do. They've had 11 successful games this season, and they've
If a
done
dance-off
that.
breaks
They've
out, I'm
done-
betting on the
How
Buckeyes.
about
We
this?
gotta go. We
they
gotta
did
go.
that last year every game, and they still won a lot
gotta
of games.
go.
I don't
Actually,
understand.
We got to do tag board. Leroy, thanks. Congratulations. In all seriousness, you guys deserve it. You've had a great year. Good luck the next 3 games. Iowa's going to be a struggle. I can promise you that. Good luck, and may the best team win. Hey, you can't argue it.
No.
You can't argue.